talking a bit about Nansen. If you had to sort of connect the dots before starting Nansen, what do you think were sort of the most important experiences that led you to found Nansen? Obviously, you need to have the co-founders and maybe the experience and the right network. Can you just looking back, what was sort of the scenario that made Nansen possible to start?
Yeah, so the first observation was that there is an abundance of data in crypto, which made it interesting for me being a data scientist and having, an analytics background to work in. So that was like the first observation, which made me want to, leave my job at Schibsted in Barcelona and then take the plunge into the crypto industry. Then the second thing was that these analytics products were either non-existent or very immature, or they were built for customer segments that weren't crypto native. So for example, there's a company called Chainalysis, which does a lot of on-chain analytics, but it's focused on like law enforcement, tax authorities, and so on. And I felt there should be, really high quality on-chain analytics for the crypto natives, like people who are actually in the arena, who are like the pioneers using all these applications, investing in crypto. They deserve great analytics tools. And so that was basically missing. And then I also had an experience joining another crypto company in Hong Kong. It was my first job in the crypto space. And that, I built out the data team there from scratch. I was like the second employee at that company. But that company itself failed like miserably within a year after I joined. So I think there was also a feeling of, hey, this could be done in a good way, but honestly, like the founders and the management of that company didn't know how to do it. And I felt like I did know how to do it instead. So there's also a need to kind of like prove that you can build a really great analytics company in the crypto industry if you do it the right way. And so I kind of wanted to prove that to myself and probably others that I could build a great company. And so one of the guys who ended up becoming my co-founders, Evgeny, I actually hired him to that team there before. So that's how I got to know him. And so he came with me, and then also Lars, our third co-founder, is a guy that he's actually based in Oslo. Is an amazing data engineer, great guy. Like we always worked really well together. And so the three of us kind of just got started building this product.
Got you. So, I mean, the tagline for Nansen is great, sort of the separate the signal from the noise. And maybe an easy analogy as well is like all this great analytics platform that is built on the internet, even the Google dashboards, the MAS tools, etc. So for people not that familiar to Nansen, how would you like sort of describe the idea and the concept in the easiest way?
Yeah, so you need to have senses when you are kind of sort of interacting with the blockchain or using cryptocurrencies, digital assets. So I kind of think of Nansen as like your eyes, right? It's like you're looking on the blockchain in real time, you're seeing what happens. And many people compare us to like Bloomberg for traditional finance, which is like, if you are a serious investor or trader in traditional finance, you need to have a Bloomberg terminal. And we have kind of some of the same features for the crypto space. If you want to do due diligence on a specific token, you can plug in that token into one of our dashboards. You get an overview of like who are the top holders of this, the trading volume, who's accumulating this token, who's selling it off, what's the liquidity on different exchanges based on like the millions of addresses that we've tagged up, and all these different things. So and the same with NFTs. Like if you're looking at NFT collections and you want to figure out the exact same things, you can get that as well. So I like to say that there are three main use cases for Nansen. The first one is to discover new opportunities that you might not have known about before. And we surface them in intelligent ways, like the volume that's going into DeFi protocols or the trading volume of NFT collections that can help you lift the more interesting projects to the surface. That's the first use case. The second one is due diligence, which I just talked about, where you look into a specific project and try to learn more about it. And the third is you get real-time notifications when important events happen on the blockchain. through Telegrams, Discord, or Slack. So these are the main use cases that that people employ Nansen for. But yeah, it's become, I think, a pretty integral product for many people who are active in the crypto space at this point.
How hard, if you look at the beginning, how hard was it to engineer a product that people actually fell in love with and basically worked like, okay, this is nice, it's a nice tool, but that they actually really were invested in it? Because maybe that's what separates the best companies, is that they actually create a product that people actually love and needs all the time.
Yeah.
So how was that process? Did you find it like pretty quickly, or was it like iteration after iteration?
Definitely a lot of iteration, but I think we had two major advantages. The first one was I was a customer of my own product, which made it, it means that you can have a feedback loop on like, I know what's useful because I'm using this product myself. So that was like a huge advantage. I think, building for other personas or customers that you cannot relate to is very hard. It's a massive advantage if you're scratching your own itch, you're building for your own persona. That was the first part. The second part is we also had a very tight feedback loop with our early customers. And so I was just tweeting about this today. If you have a Discord and you have people in that Discord giving you feedback, telling you what's useful, what they're lacking, it just means that you can iterate very fast and ship features that people want, right? And also they start loving your brand because you're listening to them and you're giving them what they need. And so I think that allowed us to build up many kind of strong ambassadors early on and people who just frankly love the product. So I think those were the two main things. There's a lot of iteration, certainly. And the product looks totally different today than it did, a year ago. And there's still like tons of features that's going to come. But certainly having that feedback loop, either with yourself, but also with customers, is super important.